Will Ospreay against Daniel Garcia for the international title with MJF in the corner of Daniel Garcia. Ospreay and Bryan Danielson, I think, used up all the Kinesio tape backstage between the two of them.
In the country,
there was nothing left for anybody else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ospreay and MJF, they go face to face on the floor as Ospreay is in control, and Ospreay starts to work on the back, and Daniel Garcia just eats chops. He fires back at Will, screams in his face after eating a boot, and then hits Ospreay with a pair of neck breakers and a DDT working on the neck. Ospreay is taunting him, and at one point, sometimes we get guys that are just like, they give their chest to chop me, or even maybe your head to punch me. Ospreay leaned over, kick me in the head. Give me the Kawada kicks. It's like, who's volunteering that one?
A pretty crazy wrestler like Will Ospreay. Mm-hmm.
So instead of kicking him in the head, he starts doing his dance, and it's like hitting him with like his thigh.
Yeah, I don't think Kawada did this ever.
Maybe in Hustle.
Kawada did do the dance with on that variety show. So yeah,
Ospreay stacks him, and then with the kick out, turns it into a Styles clash for a 2 count. Hidden Blade gets caught into a rear naked choke. Then Garcia moves to a guillotine. Oscutter gets caught, and then Garcia hits a pile driver for a near fall. So it's like all his offense is built around the neck. MJF then slides the Dynamite diamond ring onto the apron for Daniel Garcia, and he takes the ring. They scramble. He's hit with a lariat, but then he hands the ring back to MJF. He can't bring himself to do it. Will was like, oh, he really conveyed conflict about whether to do something or not, instead of like, oh, Dynamite diamond ring. And with that, Garcia turns around and bam, he is hit by the Hidden Blade and loses at 14 minutes and 21 seconds. I really did like the ending of this. This was well done. And Ospreay comes over, and it's the reversal of what we saw on Sunday when it was Swerve kind of consoling Will Ospreay. This time it's Will talking to Daniel Garcia and giving him encouraging words. And Garcia is crying in the corner. And MJF is watching in the background. When Will leaves, he comes up to Daniel Garcia. He says, that was on me. That was not your fault. And he says, the people still love you, helps him up. They're cheering Daniel Garcia, and MJF hugs him and then nails Daniel Garcia, kicks him right in the balls, and he puts on his ring. Matt Menard runs down. Our great judge of character gets drilled in the face with a ring. And man, he spits on Daniel Garcia, blasts him with the ring, and Garcia is bleeding. We then cut to Matt Menard, who is leaking a faucet. I was like, man, I didn't know if we needed the extra. Matt Menard had like Niagara Falls coming down from his head. It kind of overshadowed Daniel Garcia because this man can bleed, as we have seen in the past.
You had the Canadian and the American side of the falls.
That, oh my goodness, I couldn't have set that one up better. So then MJF channels the tombstone off the turnbuckle. I don't think he was watching The Undertaker circa 93. It looked to be watching some Chris Benoit from New Japan, and hits the tombstone off the second turnbuckle. The officials are out, and then in the greatest line for a heel turn, Christopher Daniels screams, "Why did you do that?" And MJF continues with punches. Ospreay is staggering down. He's still selling the effects of the match, chases MJF away from the ring, and MJF leaves through the crowd. And the heat that this guy had, he's going right up to these fans, who I'm pretty convinced were legit fans, and just getting right into their face. One of them
shoved one.
He shoved one. Then he took a trash can and was like going to empty trash onto another. And dude, he gets right into this guy's face, and security is like not a safe distance away either. It was like, man, this either side could have just like nailed the other. Like he was just going for it and then leaves.
Like the type of thing, if this was legitimate, that he definitely would have had a talking to. And I also think MJF would have been like worth it, you know?
Well,
like, it helped this angle significantly.
This dude was in the zone in this walk away, and Garcia is then stretchered out, and they're trying to calm down Ospreay, who is furious over this. Big angle to end the show, and I thought this was I thought it was executed really well. And I feel this is probably the direction you want to be in, is much like last week. the match you want to see is MJF and Will Ospreay, and not so much Daniel Garcia with MJF. You want to see that match, but the bigger match is Ospreay MJF, which feels like that is the match.
Yeah, I think we can tell at this point, and a lot of people suspected after last week that, you know, the MJF versus Garcia was just a bit of a misdirect, and the real program that they're building to was Ospreay versus MJF, and I thought that tonight seemed to confirm that. First of all, the match I think was a very good match, but man, it's been great for Daniel Garcia, and Daniel Garcia throughout this entire program has, you know, really been given a lot of spotlight. You know, they've been really actually making effort in elevating certain stars, and Garcia throughout this program has been one of them, and I would say tonight was successful. But this post-match beatdown was like at a length, and I think at a level of like severity that I certainly wasn't expecting coming out of this. I think MJF, he came back to such a strong babyface reaction. They did the Hechicero match in Long Island. He got such an incredible reaction there. And I didn't think that they were going to turn him heel yet. You know, and I thought eventually it would happen, but I didn't think it would be like this soon into his return. But when you think about it, I why delay it? You know, like he's going into Wembley, presumably facing Will Ospreay. He's going to be booed anyway. And as a heel, he just feels that much more complete, that much more serious, that much more of a main event level character. The babyface run was fun. It was nice, you know, okay, like I had fun with Adam Cole, but I much prefer this this is MJF in his best form, isn't it? So what does this tell you about the Cole program?
I mean, my thought is like when they did that abrupt write-off of it, I felt like that is something they're in no rush to get back to, for maybe multiple reasons, whether it's Cole's recovery time or just when they knew what direction they were going with. And when you look at the pecking order, like MJF as a babyface is kind of fighting for a spot with like Swerve, with Will Ospreay. They are very solid on that babyface side. And especially in the coming months, like Danielson is going to have a pretty prominent babyface spot during this whole quote unquote final countdown.
Jeff Jarrett, don't forget Jeff Jarrett, the biggest.
Jeff Jarrett's about to usurp them all. So, I mean, you're putting MJF into the role that I think deep down that is where fans want to see him. And I think that there is certainly, you know, this guy can play a babyface, but the timing, like this just felt, when he made this turn, it just felt like this was the right role at the right time for him. And you have several big matches coming out of this, because I think this is going to be a major injury angle that Daniel Garcia has to come back from. And you've got the Ospreay match, which very well could be Wembley.
Yeah, I think it almost should be. And if they make that
seems
concrete,
obvious, yeah.
I'm curious to know how that affects ticket sales.
Yeah, I mean, now is, you know, they're at like that 41,000 mark, and now we're going to start to see the card come together, because by next week we are going to know what the two title matches are after the Owen Cup. So we are going to know kind of your top direction. Like this certainly seems like one, and then you have Britt Baker and Mercedes. So we are like
from
into
the tournament. I think we could presume Toni Storm versus Mariah May. Willow is a possibility, but I'm thinking more May, because it's England and everything. And then you've got Hangman and Swerve.
That seems to be the way you would assume things go.